Hey homebrewers, Ryan here. Happy Homebrew Wednesday. Today I'm going to start off with a beer that was sent to me from New York by Chad from Chad's Beer Reviews. And this is a beer he brewed up with his buddy Sean, and they're calling it their Naval Black Hops Black IPA. And they did a label for it and everything. Even put pictures of themselves with a brief little description, and there's a warning on there and everything. So they did a full-on label for it, which is something I've never done. I want to do that possibly in the future for some of my stuff I bought. So let's get this open. Chad sent me the specs, which I'll get to in a second. Let's see. Pours out pretty dark. Let's see, holding up over the light. Yeah, it's not completely opaque. There's some light brown notes on the bottom, but otherwise you would just think it's black. Finger of light brown head on it. Let's see. Chad says their malts use dehusked Carafa 2, Bree Special Roast Malt, Black Patent, and 60 malt. I guess that's Crystal 60, I'm guessing, and some kind of dried malt extract. Hops, magnet for bittering, flavoring, Crystal Centennial Citra. Aroma is Cascade, and dry hop with Amarillo and Simcoe. So interesting. White Labs Cal Ale. Assume that's the 001 yeast strain. Let's get the aroma on it. Definitely getting both hops and malt for sure. Getting like that Carafa. I think it's kind of like that sort of. I don't know. It reminds me of like the typical black malt, like a hint of licorice. You get like kind of dark burnt notes to it. Definitely getting some sweeter orange kind of coming through too. Bit of a floral citrus note in there. Some sweet kind of bready. There's some darker fruits in there too. Maybe like a raisin, kind of into that character. So it's got this definitely a sweet, bitter thing kind of going on the aroma. Let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Yeah, a lot of sweetness from the malt. There's certainly the hops that are in there enough to balance it out, and finishes both a malt and hop character kind of lingering on my palate. Now they're saying 6.5 ABV over 100 IBUs. IBUs probably theoretical. I mean, it's pretty much possible to do that with the homebrew. Even professional breweries have trouble going over 100 IBUs. There's only been a few beers I know sent to White Labs that are tested at actually over 100 IBUs. The stats he gave me 1060 OG, 1021 FG, but he says taken prior to transfer secondary. Well, that's not final gravity if it's still going to secondary. So hard to say where this one actually did finish out unless you took a reading at the end. That'd be your true final gravity. I mean, you just took an in progress gravity check. So, I mean, if it did really finish at 1021, then yeah, 5.2% ABV is about right. If it finished out maybe 10, 16, somewhere around there, then, you know, get a few more points, probably closing in on 6%. So hard to tell, you know, on the taste. I mean, up front, the first thing I get is like a brief, like hop flavor. Then the malt really kicks in, carries most of the palate to the very end, where you get some of that hot bitterness coming in, like a dark kind of bitter espresso bean roast character to it. A little bit of caramel sweetness, some you know, some other just kind of, you know, whatever extract they're using, that kind of sweetness comes through as well. And then the hops, definitely, you know, getting some of the, you know, definitely citrus forward. The I think the Centennial and the Citra kind of tend to dominate a little bit, and Crystal I think still is citrusy as well, maybe floral. I think Crystal's maybe floral as well as Centennial, so you're kind of picking that up in the flavor. And the aroma wise, the Amarillo, I think I pick up the Amarillo a little more than the Simcoe on the nose. There is definitely towards the end some more kind of piney bitterness to it. But Magnum, they use for bittering is pretty clean hop. It doesn't impart a lot of flavor in the bittering, so you kind of get that. Even though it's high alpha acid, it's not quite as rounder as the Noble hops, but gives you kind of a nice, not too sharp, but solid bitterness to it. So yeah, this is well done. It's pretty balanced overall. So I mean, I think you guys you're nailing that sort of really true black IPA, where you don't want it to just be a regular IPA that's dark. Then you certainly nailed it with those darker malts really sticking out. So I just want to give an update on what I've been up to homebrew wise. I've had my Hefeweizen on draft for a few weeks now. Been liking that. It's not the best hef in the world, but it's completely drinkable, great for this warm weather. It came on under 5%, so it's pretty sessionable stuff. Not bad for first Hefeweizen. I think the temperature that I fermented at was pretty spot on for the character I want. It's pretty banana forward. Hints of clove. There's a bit of a fruitiness to it. You get maybe just a tinge of bubblegum in there, but not a lot. Just went traditional hops on that, so I mean you get a little bit of earthiness coming from them, but not too much. Really enjoying that one. Use the Weihenstephaner yeast, so hence the banana forward. And then I just, I don't know when this is going to go up, but Monday of this week just tapped my Pale Ale, which I brewed with Centennial, Nelson Sauvin, Galaxy hops, a little bit of Sriracha Ace in the Whirlpool after Flame Out, and dry hopped with 2 ounces of Centennial, an ounce of Nelson, an ounce of Galaxy. That thing smells phenomenal. Taste is pretty good. It came in about 4.7%. I was shooting for about 5.1, somewhere around there, so it came a little low. Wish I had a touch more malt character on there. I brought it over to my parents for them to try, and they thought it was an IPA. And I'm like, no, that's a pale ale. So I did a San Diego style pale ale in terms of being fairly bitter for the style. But I only used an ounce for bittering, so of Magnum. So it wasn't. It wasn't crazy on the bittering. A lot of late edition stuff, a lot of dry hops. 4 ounces total for the 5-gallon batch. I'm loving it so far. I think it still needs a little time. I think it's a little more time. It'll get even better. Give it like maybe another week. I think it'll be prime drinking condition. I was having trouble with my second keg, and I was just having some kind of leak issue, and I wasn't sure what it was, so I went and bought a new post for it. But kind of by the time I got to do that, I got into a group buy of some corny kegs, so I picked up 2 more corny kegs to add to the collection. So now I'm up to 4, and it'll just give me a lot more flexibility for the future. And so the Pale Ale went into the new keg, and so far so good with that one. Haven't had any leaking issues yet. So I just got to get get the other 2 kind of up and running. I've had a cider going for about 4 months now that I need to figure out what I want to do with it. Do I keg it up, carb it, put it on draft, or do I bottle it? Not entirely sure what to do with that yet. I finally got around to buying a 3-gallon glass carboy, which I'm going to put a sour in. So I got to figure out exactly what sour recipe I want to use, what yeast to go into that, so I can finally get that project going. Either going to be a Flanders style red or like a Lambic style beer, so we'll see how that goes. And I bought 3 gallons of Orange Blossom honey. I'd like to do a mead, a smaller batch of mead, so found some locally sourced raw honey that I think is going to work really well. I haven't tasted it yet, but I've been starting to do a little bit of research on making mead, and I'm going to give that a shot and see how it goes. So that's the homebrewing updates for now. So thanks to Chad and Sean for sending this one out. Chad especially, I need to get some beers when I have time. Been pretty busy. Get both those beers that are on draft bottled up, sent your way, along with a couple of the other bottles I've had. my barrel-aged barley wine, and my vanilla imperial stout. So got 4 of those I need to get your way. But it's going to wrap it up for this Homebrew Wednesday. Cheers to everyone. Keep brewing good beer.